Awesome. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everyone this evening?
It's starting to
Definitely
cool
gonna hit.
down, so I'm doing a lot better than earlier.
I was gonna say that's Texas is mighty warm down there. Between you and good lord, between you and Sherry, both of you are kind of roasting down there. I know many people that are following us are probably like, okay, they're used to Sherry and I. The other three that are on here tonight are coaches and our hosts over at the BNC community. So this is three-fourths, I guess, of the gang. We're missing Dave. Dave will be, he had a prior engagement, but he'll be on next week. So we'll hear his story and what he does in the community for the Monday evening. But Deb says she's roasting in Bowie too. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to bring the team together. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm excited for tonight.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So letting everyone jump on here. I see them coming through. Um, of course, like I said, they know Sherry and I. If we just want to, it's very laid back, guys. So don't be nervous. But if we want to go through in order of the week, obviously we have 8 different meetings for the week. So like I said, Dave's not here. He's on Monday. I do the nutrition meeting on Mondays as well as this YouTube with Sherry. Sherry, if you'd like to speak about our YouTube.
Absolutely. So, Becky and I started this YouTube because we just wanted to have conversation about all things nutrition and beyond nutrition, right? And we just decided to dive right in. We definitely wanted it very informal. We wanted it to be casual, sit back and just listen to like a group of friends just talking. And that's how this was kind of born. And so, yeah, so here we are. But we thought it would be a blast to get all the coaches on and just kind of have a round table, introduce yourself. Just kind of what is this BNC community all about? Kind of Becky and I are kind of the face that's out there more, and you guys definitely have very important roles. We couldn't do it without you, so we're glad you're here.
We are. And it's very exciting to end up and collaborate and bring all the people together because we all come and have our own stories. So over the next coming weeks, definitely, check it out because we will go into more of the individual stories. But since on my screen, Kevin is in the top right corner. Kevin, if you want to share what you do, I know I just said we were going in order of the week, and I guess you have the breathwork meeting on Tuesday, so you would be up next.
All right. Yes. My name is Kevin Smith. Um, and as Becky mentioned, I am running the breathwork meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central. So, and those have been a blast, I have to say.
I was going to say they've had amazing reviews off of your breathwork meetings. And so why in your journey, which we'll get into here in the coming weeks, but why is breathwork so near and dear to you?
Because the breath is like a joystick to your nervous system. If you need to get up and peppy, you can go and, orient your autonomic nervous system to the sympathetic, which is the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all of those things. Um, and that kind of gets a bad rap because the autonomic or the sympathetic nervous system, I like to think of it as the get crap done side of the nervous system, whereas the parasympathetic is like chillax, relax, heal, recuperate, and recover. And so that's what um, the breath work is for me.
Awesome.
getting
Yeah,
to where it
absolutely.
needed to
And
be.
yeah, and I, like I said, I've heard amazing reviews. I know several of our community members are in the chat, and they could, speak in regards of the amazing work that we have, or that you have done with the members. And so, roughly speak, how long are your breathwork meetings? Because I know you have two. You have one on Tuesday and you have one on Thursday.
Yeah, so the one on Tuesday is more of a breathwork for beginners kind of thing, and it tends to run about an hour. The one on Thursday will usually run about 90 minutes because we're doing the longer breathwork journeys, which is just a bit more intense, and a better result that people seem to have with that. But even with the beginning breathwork, people love it. So
And those are also guided, so it's not, we're not just all jumping on Zoom and okay, everyone's kind of doing their own breathing. It's an actual guided, it's spoken, I guess. I don't remember the guy's name, but it is actually guided. It's an actual quote session, if you will.
yes.
I was just reading comments. But yeah, it's not just something like this where we're all breathing independently, and it's an actual guided together.
Well, it's there is the coach part where it's because usually with the Thursday session, we're doing a 2-part breath. It's conscious connected breathing. So we start and breathe into the belly, and we get about 70 to 80% of the air in the diaphragm, and then we top it off with the chest, and then we just let it go, and then it's no rest at the top, no rest at the bottom, just for 45 minutes or so.
Awesome.
That's where the magic
that's
happens.
amazing.
So, Kevin, I'm going to ask you a question. Can you do with everyone that's on here right at the moment? Can you do like just a simple breathing, just to give people an idea of what how to even breathe?
Yeah, so the majority of people in the modern day are chest breathers. So if if I talk to y'all and say, "Hey, take a deep breath," and you see how that's all up in the chest, and most people are breathing into the chest as opposed to into the diaphragm or down in the belly area. And the thing with that is that if you are breathing just into the chest, and particularly if you're not breathing deep or consistently, then the air is not getting circulated all the way down to the lower lobes of the lungs. And so you have a whole bunch of stale air into the lower lungs. So then there's a couple of ways just to give like a real quick taster. I don't know how we are on time. I'm not going to do a really long thing.
I was going to say, we're fine. We usually go for an hour, so we're
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, so the first is that we can go do what's called a 10, 20, 30, where we're going to do 10 breaths rapidly through the mouth. And then at the end of that 10th breath, you're going to close, you're just going to hold your breath at the bottom. And so we do 10 breaths and then hold for 10 seconds. And then we're going to do 20 breaths and hold breath for 20 seconds. And then we can just go up with that as long as you are comfortable with it. So here, let me get my timer stopwatch so that I can see the correct time on this. All right. So again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breathing into the belly for the majority of the breath, and then breathing into the chest, and then let go. No pause at the top, no pause at the bottom. So here we go. We're going to go for 10 breaths and hold for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. And hold. All right. Now we're going to 20 breaths and hold for 20 seconds. So similar thing, starting 3, 2, 1. And hold. All righty then. How we doing, folks? Hey. All right.
Awesome.
So that's like the very basic, the thing that we do. But that's usually on the Tuesday beginner breath work, and then on the Thursday it's where it's a long drawn out, where we're doing that same circular breathing, conscious connected breathing, for upwards of 45 minutes. So.
Awesome. Yeah, and like I said, just showed there's a couple of the BNC members were putting in the chat of how amazing the breath work is, and that they won't ever miss a class. And so it is definitely very valuable, because I don't think enough people put their mind into, that's one of the reasons the BNC community got started, was all of these aspects beyond nutrition, such as the breath work. So I do think it is very important to get into, the breath work. And that's one of the reasons why we have a beginner class and then the advanced, or, the longer class. So I appreciate you, Kevin, and everything that you bring to the community. And like I said, I look forward to here in a couple weeks getting into your story a little bit deeper, as to what brought you into, this realm, and the healing that you have seen on a personal level with your success story.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Renee, you're the next one on my screen. I don't know how everyone else's screen is, but you're on mine, dear. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Everybody looks good. That's good.
Awesome. We're all smiling. We're a happy community. So, would you like to share with everyone that's watching what you bring to the table in the BNC community?
Yeah. So what I love about the whole thing is it's beyond nutrition. And so while we can get really, what would be the word, really into nutrition, or we can get really stuck on our diet or our restrictions or our calorie counts, if people are doing that, or their ketosis, or their carnivore, any of those kind of things that can sometimes lead to a lot of dogma. I love the fact that some of us have been able to look outside of that box and meet people where they are and help them. And something that's really been interesting to me for a while is the whole idea of well style, like helping people figure out what it is they can change in their life and to promote their own wellness that fits with their lifestyle, things that they can keep doing no matter what, and per se come back to the table and get those things done, because everybody's life is pretty unique. Everybody's budget is unique, their work schedule's unique, their challenges are unique, their possible illnesses are unique. And after several years of coaching people all over the world, you really meet people who often appreciate that you meet them where they're at. And so when Becky put this all together and we started talking about what we were going to do, and she had come up with Beyond Nutrition because of all the things that she does that complements all of her nutrition, it was fun to find a community that could do that. And so I'm helping out on Tuesday nights with Brain and Body Wellness. My background was 20-year veteran nurse in hospitals, doctors' offices, various places like that. And so I was very adept in what was happening in hospitals and loved all of that. And when I came home to be more at home after working full time and coming home and staying with my kids for about the last 7 years, and then had some illnesses of my own that I was trying to work on, and finding out more holistic approaches, being shocked when I went to a nurse practitioner who said, I want you to do a ketogenic diet. And I had been doing ketogenic diet with critically ill seizure patients at Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C., and here in my own small hospital in my kind of, this is an extended suburb of DC, and being like, wow, that seems so last resort. So that was kind of how, I think that was like 2014, 2015, something like that, being really introduced to that in that way. But I do find that some of us have complicated histories, whether it be autoimmune illnesses or other, or lifestyle, or all of those things. And so that's where really getting into the crux of anything that's beyond nutrition, whether it would be Kevin's breathing, your quantum, just things like that, that really bring people together. And so that's what I'm looking forward to looking more at that mindset, growth mindset, getting yourself squared away so that you can figure out how to best implement those things. And the other cool part about these kind of communities, and especially this one for me, is that everybody else is my coach too. So one of the things that I've been thinking about with that too is the things that I take away from everybody. And so with Becky, it's consistency. And with Kevin, it's humility and breathing. You know, somebody who's had a lot of issues with multiple sclerosis and healed as much as he has, yes, we contributed to carnivore lifestyle or whatever he's doing, but the sticking power that he's had. And so him using breath work to continue to heal himself. I've learned so much from Sly for years about addiction and how to retrain your mental attitude and focus what you think about the addictive substances of sugar, or even sometimes I'll even find that like you can be addicted to your own mindset. And so those kind of things are nice. So, you know, I just read, she said, read Russell Brand. I did. We're All Addicts. So there's that. And Dave, I love, Dave is like he's not on here tonight, but he is like the competitor. Like we are all on these like wackadoo, like walking across the earth in these challenges. And he's like done 1,000 miles and we're at like 200 each, or so, you know, something like that. So I want to be more, not specifically competitive because I'm not, but maybe more committed to the wellness aspect that comes from getting back in the gym or walking more miles. And then we have Sherry, who is excited to just learn everything she didn't know, which is kind of fun. And so that looking at that and learning more and more and more, and then having her be a go-to to maybe some things technical with her background too. So I think that's what's nice about this community. And I hope on Tuesday nights we can, one thing I selfishly want to try to work on is more mindset aligned with heavy duty nutrition, and trying to find some ways to rewire the brain, to look at things like that. My meeting follows Sly's meeting, who, will be talking a lot about brain energy, and Chris Palmer, and applying the ketosis aspect to healing the brain, with really trying to figure out how to change our mindsets, and that, those loops we get in, or any of those kind of things, traumas that we've had that we're realizing, especially as we get older. I think we realize, oh, well, maybe I am actually not responding to that the way I want to. And I think teenagers make you realize that your responses aren't what you thought they were. And so you're like, crud. So, because they'll tell you that you suck. And so, so you're like, okay, well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's something I need to work on in the way I'm thinking. And so for me, I'm always a work in progress. I've been better, and I've been worse. And I'm somewhere in the middle now. But what's really great about the people in this community have been an anchor for me over many years, to come back and say, okay, I'm getting back on track with this, or I've been doing really well at this, but I got to get back with that, or here we go, I'll try to get into higher ketosis, although I don't like that, whatever it is. So the best diet for me always seems to be really low carb. It doesn't always have to be ketosis, but low carb, higher protein, and sometimes the enjoyment of travel. But if I get too far out of that lane, then I have problems. And I think a lot of women are like that, maybe men too, but I see it more in women who we've hit menopause and may have some reoccurring autoimmune or reinfections with viral diseases. Lyme is huge. I keep getting bit every other day by ticks here in Virginia. So everybody's struggling to get to the next thing. So in my meeting, I hope to explore the nervous system and try to help dysregulation in all of us. We all have something that we can work on. And looking at all of that, continuing with great nutrition, trying to inspire each other. And the other thing too, as a coach, people that you get to talk with, and this was the same as a nurse too, the people that you get to work with are also very inspiring, because they're going through whatever they're going through, and you learn so much from being able to connect with people that helps you and helps other people that you get to come in contact with. And that could be in the aisle at, your local pharmacy looking for some kind of supplement. You're there and somebody's buying something that you're like, well, that, look at this one. And so those kind of things are nice too, just to kind of spread the wealth of knowledge that you get. And for me also to remember to just continue to be compassionate, because if anybody's trying at all, even a little bit, that's someone I want to support. Because, and I'll give you an example. Years ago, I ran my first 5K and I was dead last, like the cop car was behind me. And Mr. Edward, who was 86 years old, was just in front of me, only because he would stop like every 10 minutes and talk to, what was a 10K actually, and talk to the person beside us for a while. I'd run past, and then here'd come Ed and he'd pass me. But what was interesting about that experience for me, even though I was the last person and the cop car was right behind me, there were at least probably between 30 and 50 people that quit behind me. And so while I didn't win and I didn't do better than last, I still stayed in the game. And so I love the people who stay in the game, because even if you're improving a little bit, you're improving a little bit. The other thing I would like to say for people who are like me, sometimes I get really, really upset with all kinds of things because I'm not where I want to be. I'm not as healed as I want to be. I'm not as thin as I want to be. I'm not as strong as I want to be. I may not be as mentally strong in one area as I want to be. But I've stuck to always pursuing wellness, always helping people around me pursue wellness. And I really have to come to the conclusion that even though there's always going to be a lot more improvement for myself, I can't imagine where I would be if I wasn't always trying. And
Amen.
that could be all kinds of things. So if somebody's out there willing to try, I'm all for it. No matter what you can give to yourself, give it to yourself and keep going, because just a little bit of progress is a whole bunch of progress. So that's kind of where I am with it.
Absolutely. And that's, you're 100% right. You know, Sherry and I have talked about this several times in regards of where she would be if she didn't continue. You know, what is the other option?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two options,
baby-
right? I can keep going, right?
Right.
And step by keto step, like that's my Instagram name, because that's literally my journey. It has been very tiny steps. I have not gotten the results that it feels like a lot of people get, right? It's like, oh,
Christina.
look at this person over here, they just lost 75 pounds in a year, and I'm over here going, I went down to half a size. Like, I don't even know. Like, but that's it. I had to learn to stop comparing myself to others and to continue taking those steps forward. And that was a huge learning process for me through this, because I'm healing. So every day I'm healing. I may not see the visual changes, but things are happening. My cells are healing, and I do know that. And so what you bring to the table, Renee, is just, I kind of laugh for people like me, right? Like I'm struggling, I'm trying. I went off my diabetes meds, like I'm trying, like, and that's where it's so important what you do.
Right. Well, the struggle is real too. The struggle is real, that people have to come to terms with where they're at, And my kids the other day, it was kind of funny, and I thought of Becky, and I don't think I've talked to her, but we were going to watch fireworks, and the people in front of us beside our is going down. And they all five of them got out of their car, and they're all spraying and putting hats on. And I can't breathe because I hate that sunscreen that you spray. And I'm like barking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what are they doing? And Abigail's like, not everybody knows everything you know. So it's always, your kids humble you real quick too. But that's the other thing about coaching for me, is I have never been able to be arrogant about any of it, because I will struggle. I struggle to do all the things I know to do correctly. And it always comes back to that. Even when you're coaching people, it always comes back to, well, what's worked for you. And it's usually small things like, well, I used to buy, every time I went grocery shopping, I used to buy some Epsom salts, and then I would take some, and they forgot. We get busy, or we get sick, or somebody else gets sick, or something happens to a family member, or a car breaks down. We get out of some of the routines that are small. An XM station that makes you feel good when you were driving to the grocery store. You forgot about it because somehow the channel got turned. So I think health coaching is a lot like that too, is bringing people back to center and helping them remind themselves, because the power is theirs. I love being a sounding board to people too, because sometimes you just need somewhere to go and be like, I'm struggling. And I think everybody struggles a lot. So even people who are very, very fit, they have all kinds of struggles. They just have different things. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff. But the struggle is real, and people are trying to heal, and we're bombarded with so many things in our environments that are very difficult to get through a lot of times. And some of us are stronger than others, and that's why community is really important, because it helps. And so I get coached all the time by all the coaches. I'm like, I'm not doing well. What do I need to do? So that's what everybody's for. I love that. So it's good stuff.
That's the community, right? That's the community
also...
that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. And that is why, because first, I think my internet's a little choppy tonight, but that's for so long why we were told we, have to be strong. Don't end up and show your emotion. Don't end up and let people know you're struggling, always, you've got this, and you're stronger than that. Don't show it because it's a sign of weakness, which in reality, it's okay. And that's also, not only where we bring in your meeting on Tuesday, but like you said, Sly's meeting on Tuesday, and acknowledging that having to work on mindset, having to work on mental health, it's okay. Getting rid of the stigma, if you will, in regards of the mental health taboo topic and not speaking about it, because there's a lot of people that don't want to admit that they're struggling or don't know where to turn to because they don't have that supportive community. They feel like they're going to end up and, be jumped all over or judged or, whatever adjective, I guess you want to end up and put in regards to it. But having that supportive community that they can come to and say, hey, this is my struggle. And we do once a week, we put out, a community forum in regards of what is your success? What is your struggle? And how can we end up and support you? But we also have that community.
One of the comments, Renee, I don't know if you've seen that, but I'm going to read it. Jesse said, I super resonate with everything you said, Renee. So it's real. What you are doing is real. We all need it. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. Doesn't matter if you're in menopause or not. It doesn't matter if, you got 5 kids, 10 kids, grandkids, no kids, animals, like, we're all going through it. And so I thought that was a great comment to what you do, Renee.
Oh, thank you. The other thing I'll add is our animals too. I love the whole, we got a puppy to get in the pandemic. We have an old dog. She's 16. She's super spry. But then we got this new dog, and there were all these different, I used to coach like a carnivore pet meeting, because dogs are carnivore. They're not lipivores. So they're limited on their fat, but they're really high protein. But even looking at dogs, specifically dogs, all the animals, but dogs, man, the things that our environment is doing to their health, from sunlight to their feet. I didn't know I just learned recently dogs sweat from their paws. I don't know how I didn't know that for 49 years, but I learned that recently at the vet. And, all of the different, they're over medicated, they're over this, they're over that. And, we feed them Doritos if we're feeding them dog, regular dog food. But then again, that's the other thing too, is like there's balance when we get convicted about something we want to do with our pets too. And it's difficult to secure enough meat to feed dogs. So, maybe they have to do some kibble, maybe they have to do Purina, but then they want to do chicken feed and some steak every now and then. I mean, we have to meet people where they're at because everybody's so different. But pets are really interesting to look about their environment and their health. And some of it applies to us. And that's fascinating too. So I'm here to support your pets too. Love Tina's pet. We talk about her pet when she comes to all of our meetings. And so she brings her pet to our meetings. So that's fun.
Yes.
And then there's Spazzy.
Cap's amazing. I was just saying, and then we got Sly on her mental health meetings on Tuesday with Spazzy.
I know. I don't know where Spazzy is right now.
Yeah, and that's a good segue to Sly, because Sly's story really is so awesome. And starting out in the beginning, when we were on the other platform together, just supporting her and watching her grow and her teaching me so many things, that's been fun. It's been fun. You're a powerhouse.
Thank you. Oh, there he is. Okay, we can move on with life now. There's a visual. I'm not so worried that he won't come home. However, I am worried for the people that come in contact with him that want to pet the fuzzy little kitty. I have mental health issues, and so does my cat. So it works out quite nicely for the both of us. But no, mental health and addiction is like my thing.
Hence why he's named Spazzy.
Yeah. Actually, his name's Spazzy because the first picture I was looking for a male blue Russian cat when I got Spazzy, and a coworker of mine found these little kittens, farmhouse kittens, in the farmhouse, and he was like on her chest, and he was just like, um, and we thought he was a girl at that time too. So I immediately was like, "That's my cat right there," and I picked her at the time, and then brought him home and named him Spazzy, and then he took him to get spayed, and he came back neutered. So I even was just like, because he's so fuzzy, I didn't look. I just assumed the woman that gave him to me knew what he was, and just went from that. I even told my friend, I was like, "You better be bringing me the right cat. You better be my cat." But yeah, it is. He's been a lifesaver for me over the last 8 years of my journey, which started out with I'm going to say street drugs. We'll just call them street drugs because I still think sugar and ultra processed foods are definitely drugs. And that was the first 4 years of my journey, is getting that under wraps. But then I learned very quickly that that the food was a drug for me also. And that once, the street drugs were out of the picture and I had lost my desire to use those, I had to learn very quickly about the other drugs that were in my life and the other outlets that I had, because I was afraid to go back to the street drugs. And addiction and mental health runs very deeply in both sides of my family. And along the way, I came across Becky, and she had all my answers. I may have had the answers, but she just confirmed that they were there for me to use. Basically, I had this wild idea about fat, and and I was like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like a thing, but it feels like it could be a thing. And there was like little droplets along the way saying this could be a thing. And I remember one of my friends did a Snapchat about fat fasting, and she didn't know what it was, but in my head it clicked. It was like, huh. And then I came to another platform, and there was Becky to confirm all these little things. And I was like, okay, I'm in the right place. I found where I needed to do that. And Renee was right. Christopher Palmer definitely gave me the guidance of what I needed to do for my mental health. He actually scared me at first because, not a bad way, but scared me into the point of like, you really need to look at this. He had mentioned in one of his lectures, I have bipolar 2, and I also have borderline personality disorder. And he had mentioned that the bipolar can transition into schizophrenia. And with the mental health issues throughout my family, it was enough to scare me to say, hey, let's look at this a little bit more. And with his knowledge and the other knowledge and help with Becky doing the high fat and consistently and working in that, I was able to come up off all my meds, which I never thought would be a reality. And so now that's what I like to do, is like help people bridge that, mainly because I think it was Georgia Edie had said, like, when it comes to like the non-psychotic meds, there is like a 40% treatment resistance with it. So they're going to take these meds and people aren't going to get better anyways. And I've seen a lot of that in my 12-step program that I'm in. And then, you know, the psychotic meds have a little bit better, but the side effects that people get from taking those, especially males, they don't like it, you know, and they stop taking their meds, and that usually leads them back right out to street drugs. Thank you, Tina. Back out to street drugs. And I've watched my own journey, and I've had a lot of be able to like look at other people that have similar situations, and the way we respond or react to the world. And it's just a world of difference that the nutrition part has made, on that note. But like the breathing part, I need to get it more into that. I've been to the beginners class. I know I've got like courses coming up I have to do. So I just figured get a jump on it with Kevin on at least Tuesdays. And, you know, even doing some of the other things like, you know, having that, not fasting till 2 o'clock in the afternoon at this point, and doing that morning breakfast. And I was telling them in the last meeting, I was like, I don't technically get sunrise, because sunrise is like 5:30 here, and nobody wants a 5:30 sly. But I have been, with the challenge that we did last month, at least getting up and going and getting morning light and getting, you know, the grounding and stuff in the morning. When winter comes, the sunrise will work out better for me. Part of it. But it's and I like the fact that there's a lot of support here, and the dogma's kind of left at the door, and that is very important to me, because like Renee said, meeting people where they're at and where their willingness is and how much they were going to do. You know, a lot of the 12-step programs, like, don't stop showing up until the miracle happens. So as long as you show up, eventually something will happen. A miracle in your life will happen. And just doing the steps that you're ready to do. I mean, like, of course, like, for the 12-step program I'm in, it's a little bit like you're going to die if you don't stop doing some of those things. I think we have a little bit more leeway in this way of, in some cases. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes people show up and it is a matter of life and death for them. And so maybe we need to push them a little bit further, a little bit quicker. But, you know, just showing up, that's all you got to do. If you showed up, then you've succeeded for today.
And I think what you just said in regards of continuously showing up. I mean, many of us have known each other for over 4 years now. You know, we continue to show up for each other. We continue to end up and be here, and we don't all do the exact same thing. You know, we've started kind of do carnivore. We've put a little grounding in there. We've put, you know, all these other areas of a wellness type lifestyle, the beyond the nutrition lifestyle. I mean, you know, like you just said, you're not necessarily getting up for sunrise every day. I personally do. But, you know, that's where we can still support each other. We come together and make it a well-rounded community. It takes each of us. And, you know, you bring to the table a lot more in regards of the mental health and addiction than I ever could. I don't have that type of a background. So, you know, if our community member comes with that type of an issue, then, you know, yes, I can support them on these other areas, but the addiction side is not my background.
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely a learned experience from over here.
well, you have that personal aspect. You are able to reach, you are able to end up and, you know, sympathize with them or resonate with them. I guess I'll put it that way. Because you've walked in those shoes. You know, for someone like myself, I've never walked in those shoes. So I don't have that understanding. I don't have that aspect. I can be, you know, compassionate with them and support them, but it's hard to end up and say, you know, I know where you've been, or I know what you're going through, because I haven't been there. And you
Well,
have.
that's the one thing, the Russell Brand book, you know, he talks about for himself. Like, the book is there to help any addiction, right? It doesn't have, and like Renee said, everybody has an addiction. But like, is that addiction, you know, what kind of addiction is it? Is it making your life unmanageable? I can say there's some healthy ways that you can focus your addiction, for sure. I obviously had to do that, and just getting the knowledge and where I am today of focusing it towards that, focusing the obsession in healthier ways than using the bad outlets. And as Russell Brand put it, you know, like, he's had all these other outlets that he's used. He got I think sometimes he doesn't use the word blessing, but that's kind of why I look at it. Like, I got those harder issues that made me look at myself in a way that I had to, just to survive for those. But it's been able to cross over into like looking at all these other aspects of my life, not just street drugs, and working on those areas too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and being able to take it as a whole, not just, like you said, the one aspect. But
I remember the
I'm-
first meeting that I attended with Sly, and I went into it thinking, well, I don't have any addictions. Like, I don't know. And like right out of the gate, she's like, she was asking us these questions. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, yep, check, yep, check, yep, check. And all of a sudden it was like another light bulb went on. And it's like, oh my goodness. And before we went live, Kevin made a very interesting comment about carbs. And do you want to tell him what you said about carbs, Kevin?
Yeah, so I'm a carbaholic, and I have tried and tried and tried to be a moderator, but that doesn't work for me. I have to be an abstainer. It's not so much that I eat all the carbs, it's that I eat them all right now. So yeah.
that addiction mindset of how is it? One is never enough, and
1,000 is too many.
Yeah.
One's never enough, and 1,000's too many.
I want to add something to that too, about kind of my thought process. It's something that concerns me, because as a nurse, you see people that have very specific things. They have to do very specific things. There's a lot of different modalities in their life. A lot of things are happening behind their illness that you don't know about. And my experience in some of the communities that I've been in is that people can be pressured to continue to eat a certain way, and I'll give you one example, and I hope this is okay with Sly. But I was in a meeting with Sly, and the meeting was great for a lot of people, but because she was using MCT oil, she was being shot down publicly. And for me, I kind of stood up for her in that response, because people need to do whatever it takes to get themselves ironed out, and it's not going to look the same for everybody. And sometimes I'm very fearful that if we're not careful with what's working for us, or what we may demand for someone else, can create orthorexia in other people. And I see that, and I'm like, wow, people can't go from one thing to another. So there are some addicts, I feel like, they and you see a lot of that in these groups. They'll latch on to veganism, and then they'll be very sick because they did that. Or they might even latch on to carnivore, and it may not be the best thing for them. It could be not the best thing for them for their health, or even for the environment that they're in with their family. And so I love that the people that are here are helping people find the way they can help to heal their self individually, because it's really sad to me when I look at some people who are struggling to do the thing the person beside them is doing, and it's making them sicker. It's creating orthorexia in them, and then they're having a really hard time. That's one thing that concerns me, and about all influencers, really. We have to really support people individually. And so I love that Kevin knows that about himself. He knows that it's carbs and he can curb that, but somebody shouldn't force that upon him if it's not working for him. And so that's the thing, and like there was a guy one time who was doing really great, changing his diet, and he wanted to get off meds, but he really wanted a smoothie. He wanted, and he wasn't fat. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. And I watched people shoot that down. And I think that's why I want to stick up for the underdog who's doing what it takes to heal. And that was my experience watching Sly. MCT oil is that fat, specifically, that plant fat, was a huge instrument for her to heal. And so we have to be very careful not to do that to people. And I want to say, just because this will be out for the masses, if you're on medications, you need to stay on them. I know Sly would support this. So Chris Palmer will even say, not everybody gets off of everything. They might improve. They might be on 5 or 6 drugs right now and go down to 1. But not everybody. I still take thyroid medicine. 15 milligrams of thyroid medicine did more for me than all the diets that I had been trying for quite some time. All the pain in my feet went away within 1 week. So there are elements of the medical industry and pharma that can help us heal, that we might need to use, maybe for a long time or maybe for a limited time. But especially with mental health medications, you can't just drop them all if you want to start using something else. And you're not a failure if you're on a medication. You may be able to bring it way down and still use something else to help you and really light your brain up and do better. And those kind of things are important too.
I just real quick, because I do that, the mental health stuff, like I came just for general purposes out there. Nobody, no matter what diet you're on, should ever stop taking a prescribed mental health medication without the help of a professional, myself included. I did work with a professional to come off all my medications. I still kept one medication that was for emergency uses or on-site uses for a year afterwards. I didn't have to use it, but if I would have needed to go back on any of my mental health medications, maybe at a lower dose at that, I would 100% done it. I am not anti-medication at all. I just have found the tools that I need for myself and my journey, that I don't need them at the present time.
And that's exactly it. We're not dogmatic in the fact of, everyone has to eat, one way or another. We end up, when we open the nutrition aspect, when we open that supplements and meds have their time, their place, their purpose. We have never, yes, if we can end up and get better and decrease them, but there's a time where even when people are transitioning with what they're eating, they may need enzymes, they may need oxbile, they may need, their supplements. When I started, I was on 7 different medications. I would have never, decreased them or gotten off of them if I was not consistent, with what I was doing. But none of us are, claiming to be physicians. We are not going to titrate your medicine. That is where, you know, the medical practice does end up and come into it. So we just will support you and give you the tools to put in your tool belt that you can start implementing.
The other cool thing about environments like this is that we teach each other how to learn. One other big thing that's a big deal is how to talk to your doctor. And Sly really had a doctor that was really great at continuing to help her. Sometimes they're hard to find, but helping people find physicians that will help them achieve the when I was really sick with the big thing, it was my functional medicine doctor. I went to all kinds of doctors, but it was my functional medicine doctor who said, do this and do that, and all these supplements that really helped heal me. Because when you're diagnosed with interstitial lung disease, that is not supposed to go away. That's supposed to be forever. And my lungs are perfect. And that was a year of carnivore and really working hard to heal. And illness is depressing too. So community is great for that too, because, and that's why we have to meet people where they're at, because they're already exhausted by the systems that they're stuck in. So the support is a big deal. It's a big deal just to have somebody to hear you out or to teach you, you know, it's people like, you know, Dr. Barry, who teaches, you know, how you can talk to your doctor, like just being able to present physicians with something and find somebody that will listen to you to help you. And they are out there. They're out there. Most of them want to do well. It's just sometimes they don't know. And they don't, you know, I'm sure that Sly could go into a lot of different physicians who help with mental health and shock their shoes off because they don't know yet. They don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm living proof of that right now. I started carnivore almost 2 years ago, and I was on my type 2 diabetes meds. In fact, I was on 2 of them. And it has taken me clear up until a week ago, a little over a week. I am completely off my type 2 diabetes medicine. Thank you. But I did it with the help of a doctor, right? And he put me on strict carnivore, and I mean strict. And we're watching numbers come down. He even admitted that my body is very stubborn. But the fact is it's taken me almost 2 years, right? And I knew I needed that medicine to continue to work on my diet and to heal, to be able to finally get off of it. But I'll be honest with everyone, I'm still on my high blood pressure medicine. That's kind of the last to go from what I understand, and that's okay. So absolutely, we are not judgmental when it comes to if you need the meds that help you. We're here to support you. And so I'm going to let Becky tell everyone about what type of coaching is available.
Okay. So yeah, there's a couple different ways. We do, in addition to those meetings, we do have a couple others in regards of intuitive steps and then the aromatherapy as well in the mix of those. But the coaching that is available, so we end up and we offer not only the meetings where you can get group coaching. So each of the meetings that we've kind of talked to, or the aspects of wellness that we have talked to, within the Beyond Nutrition coaching community, BNC community, we also offer what we call circles. So each of the aspects or the focuses that we have within the community has a circle, but then one of them is also the coaching. So there's one-on-one coaching where you can end up and book a coach and sit down with that person. We can end up and hold you accountable. Maybe it's more on the side of keto. Maybe it's more on the side of carnivore. Maybe it's just because you don't have the support in your life and you want someone, you know, to be able to reach out to. We have that option within the community where you can end up and book us coaches and just, you know, use that to your ability of your journey, right? Because every coaching session that I know I've done is a little bit different. None of them, kind of going back to where the comments were coming in of everyone being different. Everybody is different. Every, one is unique. There's no one size fits all program. We are able to meet that person. We are able to sit down. It's hard in a group setting of saying, this is the way to do X, Y, or Z, or, try this, or, something like that. So that's where, even that depth of additional coaching. I know many of us have coached for other platforms, but we also end up and offer it within the community. So I didn't tell my team, but I did end up continuing the 50% off coupon code. So if you end up and you join us within the community, you can get 50% off. Just use the code BNC. We ran a special over 4th of July weekend to get 50% off. That honestly puts it at less than $1 a day. So less than $1 a day, you get 8 meetings per week. You can then book additional coaching on top of that if you want more one-on-one support. But it is definitely very affordable to have that sense of community and be able to come to a non-judgmental, open community where you can end up and speak of what is, going on in your life, what is aspects you have. But if anyone else wants to chime in about the community, I know we're pushing our hour here, but
definitely. So what we're planning on doing in the next number of weeks is we're going to bring each one of the coaches on separately. We're going to hear about their stories. We want to know what got them to this point. We're going to go into some super in-depth stuff with each one. We're going to start out with Dave. Did we talk about what Dave offers on Monday?
Yes.
You did at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the next few weeks, we're going to talk. We're even going to let Becky talk because Becky, she actually has a couple of meetings that she hosts herself that also has been very beneficial. So Becky's going to have her turn as well. And, it takes a village, it takes a tribe. And I know for one, I am blessed to be a part of this group. You guys help me. And if you join, they're recorded. So if I can't make Kevin's 5 o'clock breath work, I can always go back and watch it and record it. Same thing with Sly, same thing with Renee, same thing with Becky, and same thing with Dave. So it's not like, oh my goodness, I'm missing all this stuff, because you can make it fit into your schedule by being able to rewatch it, which I think is just utterly, that value right there is worth more than, $2 a day, right?
Yeah, because I get it. We are all busy people, right? So we're working, we've got family life, but being able to still have that feeling of community. And that's one of the reasons, I wanted to bring a community together. And like I said, many of us have known each other for over 4 years. So, I knew when I pulled the team together who I, wanted basically in my back pocket of collaborating with, because they really aligned and we got together. We understand each other. We have that foundation and a good quality team. I could not do it without any of you, Sherry, Kevin, Renee, Dave, Sly. You all end up and add to the community. And like I said, I couldn't do it without you.
Though it took me until last month to find out that the BNC does not stand for Becky Niles Coaching. It's Beyond Nutrition Community.
Yes, absolutely. It is not myself. Yes, I do have coaching as well, But if you end up and you go to the bncommunity.com, it will take you to the community. If you want my coaching, it's my own, BeckyNowsCoaching.com. So it is two separate. But yes, BNC is not Becky Now's Coaching. It is Beyond Nutrition Community or Beyond Nutrition Coaching Community. However you want to look at it, now that we also end up and offer the coaching, that is what it stands for.
Do you want to read what Kevin put in the chat? Kevin, do you want to yeah.
I was to say, yeah, he can end up and speak to it.
Yeah, go, Kevin.
As far as the one-on-one breathwork coaching, yeah. So the one-on-one breathwork coaching and the 9D, which anybody doesn't know what the 9D is about, show up on Thursday and you'll find out. And that retails for $300 for a session, which is turns into an hour and a half to 2 hours for the full session. The BNC members get a discounted price of $120 per session.
So in other words, come on Thursday, get a taste of what it is. If you want it more than a week or once a week, end up and they can book a one-on-one coaching session with you.
Correct.
Which is what's amazing is you can come to the meetings, but being able, and I know Sherry, you had amazing, benefits, especially with your glucose by attending the breathwork meeting. But being able, say you go on a Tuesday to, either the brain and body with Renee and then, or the mental health with Sly, but you want that extra accountability. You want to check in before the weekend. Maybe the weekend is where you struggle. You can book, sessions on that aspect and really, provide yourself that foundation of continuing to improve on yourself and make yourself better every day. Any other words, my team?
Let's do it.
Everyone is quiet. Perfect. Well, like I said, definitely go to bncommunity.com. Use the code BNC. Come join us over at the community. We'll be excited to welcome you into any of the meetings. Which reminds me,
we'll start
I've got the
next week. We will start with Dave. So make sure you tune in next Monday.
Dave's not here, man.
Yeah.
So Dave's not here, man.
No, but so that's why we're making him go first. So see what happens when you don't. No. But join us next week, 7 p.m. Monday, Central Standard Time. And we're going to hear all about Dave, how he got there and so forth. So thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for sticking around. It's a little past the top of the hour. We really do appreciate it. And I'm glad, like I said, I'll say it again, 500,000 times. I'm glad you all are a part of my team, my tribe.
I'm missing you already.
Welcome, team. Bye.
Teamwork makes the dream work.